So excited to be here today. It's Cinnamon Cooney, your Art Sherpa. This is Big Art Quest 19. I actually went and numbered them correctly. We're going to talk about how to get that blending thing locked down. That's really hard for artists, and we're going to lock it down. I'm going to talk to you about the products you need, the techniques you've got to master. I'm going to make it super simple. You could be really new to painting, and this would save you years of work, effort, and anguish right off the top. And I even promise you there's some things I'm going to say that experienced artists won't even know. On the mic today is my husband, John.
Hi, guys.
Hey. John likes to follow me around with the cameras and read your comments. You gonna do that?
I do. I also have to chat. I'm also listening and tuning and adjusting and button pushing.
You know, I forgot to check to see if my sound was even down. That was such a cool intro. I would have been bummed if it was lost.
I would have been like, push the button.
I'm so pumped because there's some things I've worked out for you. One of them we're going to talk about all the time. That is how to stop the pitting on your canvas.
Oh, yeah.
So that the paint flows over it better.
That was really cool. You showed me that.
We're going to talk to you about a thing with blending mediums, like what the blending mediums are, which ones work for you, which ones might not. Just straight from the top, solutions.
Yeah.
Right? And some other stuff. And it's all going to go pretty quickly. But I just can't go forward without saying hello to everybody who's here for the live. How is everybody for the live?
Oh, they're really excited. There's so many people coming. We got like over 140 here, and the room
Are
just
we
keeps
full of
getting
Sherpettes?
Oh, there's a bunch of Sherpettes here. They're all.
We need a male gendered version of that. I feel like that's,
I feel just fine being a Sherpette.
You do?
It's like I don't know.
I don't know, guys. Let me know.
I guess as a Sherpa.
Yeah, I want to be as supportive for my guy painters as my girl painters, and my brushes of all ages. We're all just included here. I think it's important.
Yeah.
So, weigh in on that, but.
Oh, everyone's waving and saying hello to you right now.
Well, I wave back.
Scorpion is waving hello, and Ross says hello, and Jody says hello, and Christine says, and hey, look, there's Egon. I like Egon because he has a really cool Ghostbusters thing.
I do also like Egon.
So, yeah, we got a whole crew here. There, it's 150. It's growing 160. Yeah, it's literally it's growing by 10.
This is a good one to show up for. It's a good one to catch on replay, because again, it's going to solve some problems you're really, really having.
Yeah.
Pitting. I'm just going to
talk about that. That's really cool.
I'm going to explain this to you. So you guys have noticed you paint on a canvas, and then there's these little white dots where the weave is at the bottom, and you can't get the paint to go into the dot. It's like the canvas is fighting the paint. We've talked about the coatings on economic canvases. We've talked about all of that. But what I haven't told you, and we're going to talk about this product a lot, because I've been traveling. And in those travels, I have been reminded of issues that you can have as an artist in different locations. So this is acrylic flow release. Where can I do that? It's up here. Can we go close?
Yes, we can do that. Hold on.
Okay.
Oh, wait.
No?
Yes, we can. I just have to push the right button.
Hi.
That button.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay.
So acrylic flow release.
There you go. That way.
Okay. I like the one by Golden. I like it because there's a lot of explanation about it, and they have the most support materials to use it correctly.
You like to read all the instructions.
I do like to read all the instructions.
And they have pages of it.
All right. Basically, long story short, it's a water conditioner.
Is it?
Yeah. It improves the surface tension of your water and improves the quality of your water so that your paint can get into the canvas. And we're going to be doing this now. I'm going to demo this, I think, for several of the lessons coming up.
Yeah.
You don't have to buy it. But if you're having this problem, it could turn it around. I've been testing it lately, so I'm feeling really confident about saying this. I mix up a solution of it. It's like a little teaspoon into like a little jug of water. And then I just do a thin coat on my canvas. Thin coat, I just brush it on my canvas, and all that nonsense just stops. On top of doing all the stuff it normally does, which is improve the flow of paint off your brush, which is like improve how your water is performing. All of that, it still does. Mm-hmm. And we're going to just keep talking about tips and tips. I may even pull this out for its own video. I have been so impressed with it, but I'm going to be talking about it a lot lately. I love this. It's acrylic flow release by Golden. Personally loved it. Was a lifesaver on my trip because I was having that problem. I was having problems with the water, and I was having problem with the surfaces that I was painting on, and it just solved them. And it means we get to do raw canvas staining, which is some fun art stuff right there. And we get to do it like whatever, just having fun. So that's something I just wanted to share with you. I'm really excited about this product. You're going to be hearing more and more and more and more about it, how to use it, how it helps you, and, But remember, water works and tenacity works. So don't ever feel like you've got to stress your budget out.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And you can always watch that Facebook video I did about like things you can do to save money in art, which is a great way to get these things. Cause like I always tell John, I don't pay list price. I don't do it. I'm not into it. So the first things we're going to talk about, I've got a couple canvases here, and these are the kinds of things, like we do these blended skies, we want to do portraiture, we want to have a nice gradation, and how we get those is by a couple of techniques. And the first one I'm going to want to demo, put this somewhere. I have nowhere to put this. Is just the basic one, which is wet into wet. Mm-hmm. And if you're not familiar with what people are talking about on wet into wet, what they're basically saying is go real fast while the paint's still wet.
Oh.
Yeah. You're making sure you're using the brush and the paint, right? To use those properties of both products.
Okay.
You know, and using those edges to blend them. So say if I was doing a sky, I'm going to get a nice bright here, something we typically use. I've got Goldilocks here. This is actually Goldilocks. She's been restored recently.
Oh, that's right. You did some brush care.
And I'm going to get some, phthalo blue, quite dark. I've got my Flow 8 on here. And I'm going to come right here, and I'm going to go across the top. Right now, in my studio, I have some conditions I'm dealing with.
I have to say, there's a wonderful global warming hello coming from sunny Kent, England.
Oh, boy, Kent, England. Because it used to be in your favor, all right? So I'm going here, and I want to start to lighten. I have to move right now in my studio because of the heat, because of the dryness, quite quickly with a lighter color to get that blend. But if I can do that, can you see how I get a beautiful seam?
Mm-hmm.
Right? I'm seaming beautifully.
I'm going to come up here and zoom in on that.
Right, zoom in on this. And then I can just soften this with a light brush pressure. Right? I might get my brush wet again and pull some more white paint, just white, and I'm coming here and I'm going to keep seaming this is how I'm going to be doing this as I'm working down this gradation, right? Now my mom, and hopefully I've worked quick enough to make her proud, has this long-term thing she does. This is totally dependent on you going so fast your paint is still wet, which I know for many of you is a very stressful and not fun thing. But so I've got these nice little gradations coming on, and I want a super soft blend. This is the first, cheapest, and primary way. I get a soft, bright brush, and I can pull it across. And pull across. Only works if the paint is still wet and the brush is dry and soft. So that's the first way that you can do that. It's cheap, it's accessible, and the barrier to you accomplishing that goal is speed. Or having a climate that doesn't make your paint dry out in 2 seconds. I am like desert kind of conditions in here. So I'm literally in this studio. What I'm finding is the worst possible conditions you could have painting in acrylic paint.
Yeah.
I can still get oil-like results. I can still get beautiful blended edges. I now just have to use some tools to correct for the lighting, right? Now for you, that might be really helpful if you're not painting at that speed and your stuff is drying out on you. What's another kind of technique that you could do? Well, another thing that artists do, right, when they're trying to do a blend, is they do a thing called dry brushing. So here I have a brush. It has no paint in it. I mean, no water in it. It has paint in it. What am I saying? That's crazy. And I can very, very lightly, can you see how lightly this is?
I can.
Okay. Let me see if I can pop another bit of white in here.
I'm going to adjust that camera up.
Yeah, adjust that camera up. Do you need to walk up here? Okay. So yeah, all right. Don't know where I'm talking. Where are we adjusting? Okay. So what I'm going to have to do is a very light pressure, all right? I have a dusting of color, and then I can kind of create where the underneath surface is shining through the top. This is all about how dry my brush is, right? And how much pressure I'm putting on it. Also, that I've got a very firm filament on this brush. Listen, if you guys have accidentally gotten some soft filament brushes, don't throw them out. They have a use. All kinds of uses for all kinds of things, right? So I'm just going and I'm just dusting it. And this is another way to kind of get a blend. It's not a wet into wet blend. It's not an oil blend. It's a very acrylic kind of gradation or blend, but it's something we might typically see. Right? John's still working that out. So that's what you've got in the sort of, I can get this sort of going in a technique based, right? Now, on top of that, your paint affects your blending. So heavy body, which many of you have talked about, is harder to blend. Yes, that's true. It has a lot more body, it has a lot more pigment, it has a lot more everything in it. But it's really easy to get around it so you can get the quality. But listen, you've got to remember that there's something called soft body or fluid body paints. What does that mean? That means all the polymers aren't in there. It's soft. It blends beautifully. You get the pigment. You get the archival nature. You get the guaranteed value in your painting. And none of the body. If the body is what's bugging you, those products are insanely good. And the only thing you got to realize is that sometimes the companies will like battle each other out. And so Liquitex might call it soft body and Golden will call it fluid. To you, that doesn't mean anything. You just need to know they're both the same thing. There are a paint that is self-leveling, that easily blends, and has a slightly longer open time.
Now, you were saying that there were some that are they label them differently because they're ever so slightly different.
Oh, there's so much stuff going on with this. All right. Next crazy thing I'm going to anyone ever hear of glazing medium? I want you guys to raise your hand.
I did.
Have you heard of glazing medium?
I remember
I hope at this point you guys
right?
have heard of glazing medium.
Is that what you use for grisaille? Is that am I saying it right?
Well, grisaille would be glazing. There's a ton of glazing techniques. You really can't do portraiture in acrylic without glazing. And you do glazing in watercolor and oil. Glazing is a universal technique, okay?
Okay.
And so there's a couple bottles.
A couple different makes of it.
Right? But let me see if I can do this here.
Yeah,
These are both glazing.
Yeah.
All right? This is acrylic glazing liquid gloss, and this is glazing medium.
There's lots of hands in the air. And
right?
there's some of them are jumping up and down in the back of the class, like, you know, they got to be picked.
I'm going to blow your mind here right now because a lot of experienced artists don't even know this. These are not the same product, and they don't do the same thing.
Really?
No, they just have the same word on them. It messes with people all the time. So they'll get this, and they're like, I'm going to try golden. And they get this, and they're like, what's going on? Or they get this, and they love it, but they're going to try Liquitex because it was on sale, and they're like, what's going on? Not the same at all.
Really?
No.
And what?
I know, it just trips me out.
But I guess that would throw somebody off.
It could totally mess you up at the art store.
Okay.
You're sitting there with your coupons, working your sales, and you're like, Liquitex glazing medium, 50% off. Golden glazing medium, not a sale. Get the Liquitex glazing medium, and you're like, where did my blending time go?
It's just gone.
It's gone. Because it's not the same product.
It starts acting weird.
So this is a thing that we as artists constantly are facing, which is sometimes, labels are not as informative as they can be, which is why reading the bottle sometimes is hyper critical, because they will tell you. I mean, they're not trying to trick you. It's just, this is happening. They're competitive companies. You're just caught in the middle.
Well, yeah, and I think that companies are making different products, for their consumer base who's looking for something. So
different goals, different things. Now,
it's not that one's necessarily even better than the other. They just do different things. I'm
going to show you this one first because this one's a very, very different product. I'm going to put this out. All right. So it's got kind of a milky color. Yes, it will dry clear. What you need to know about the glazing medium, and I'm going to grab my thing out. I think this is so funny, too.
Okay.
So what this does, this is a flexible, clear coat. Okay.
A flexible,
glazing
clear
mediums
coat.
Must be in thin coats.
What?
Must.
Why?
Because if they get too thick, they get gummy, they start to fail, they have problems. It's like all over the specs. It's certainly my experience. You don't want, it's not for impasto techniques. Don't do it.
Huh.
Don't do it. You'll mess up your painting.
So Mark's like, this is just exactly like the brush sizing. Like everybody has their own thing.
Yes. All right. So here's where this one's different.
Okay.
This type of glazing medium, the Liquitex glazing medium, dries quickly.
Okay.
Dries quickly and is for clear glazes. You must allow the layer underneath to dry. And I'm going to tell you a couple other things you might not know about it as a product.
Okay.
You might not be aware. You might. You might be aware, but you might not.
I'm going to say hi to Elizabeth, who's staying up way too late past her bedtime.
Hi,
all the way over there.
Elizabeth. Thank you, Elizabeth.
Yeah, it's
I'm
like
going
past
to
midnight.
put this somewhere I can get it back again, or I'll get help. All right. Pictures are everywhere. I'm just throwing them around. I'm going to put out some yellow. Right? This is some cad yellow. And I'm going to put out some quinacridone crimson. But just because it's like a primary red. Weird thing you might not know.
What is it? It's like
a primary red.
What is
All right.
that?
So I'm going to get my well, it just mixes closer to what you'd expect a true primary to mix. It's not actually, but it's like close enough.
Actually, I've not done it. I wanted to say thank you to all of our moderators who are out there. I see Flame and Ghost and Mona and Mark and Stephanie and all of the ones.
Subscribe.
And, yeah, you guys should subscribe, like, comment, do all those things.
If you like videos like this and this type of information.
Yeah, you're supposed to do all that stuff, and you guys know how to do it. The buttons are all there. But what we really care about is if you'd post the pictures that you do when you're finished. I love seeing that.
Or tell your stories, or if we said something that really helped you, let us know.
Yeah.
Right? Definitely share that. That means a lot. And listen, guys, I so appreciate you guys working so hard. And everyone coming in and giving this painting thing a try.
Yeah.
So I'm going to pull some blue out. This is phthalo blue. Color's really not important for the purposes of this. And I'm going to mix it in to my glaze. But I'm going to do it in that way I usually do, where I'm very painterly. Okay? I don't know if you can see this.
Oh, not that one.
But it gets very streaky when I do it like that. So that's the first thing you need to know about glazing medium, right?
Huh.
You need to really, really disperse the pigment into the glaze.
Really?
Yeah.
So you got to get really mixed in there.
Now, you really need to, because when you do, you get a much smoother transition between the colors. Do you see how that is almost like this is a way to make green, this is a way to make purple, and it barely shows over itself? This is what a glaze does, and it's what a glaze is, and it is like the funnest thing to do. In Grisaille, which we did with the apple.
Yeah.
How fun is that?
Yeah, that was really cool. I liked watching that one a lot.
Now, what happens with this when you mix pigment into this is it'll get lighter because it, like, you see this creaminess?
Yeah.
And then it'll get to its, when it dries, it'll get to its regular color. You do not have to worry. It is not going to color shift on you. It's not going to do any of that. This is a very stabilized quality product. It's a good product. You don't even have to stress about it. Not even a little bit. Just knowing that it dries quickly and the other one dries slowly is very important, though.
Yeah, that is a big important thing.
Very different results because this is dry already. I can't blend this. I cannot wet into wet blend this. This is not an opener. This is not a retarder. This does not slow the drying time of paint. It creates translucent glazes. It works the best with paints that are already translucent. That is its space. And again, in portraiture, it's incredibly good.
Yeah.
I'm going to do some yellow over here just because this is so fun. And yeah, you could mix them together. You can mix glazes together. I mean, it does everything you expect your acrylic paint to do.
I'll have to get you to pull that palette closer to you.
Okay, but you can see this here. See this light glaze over it?
Yeah.
Isn't that kind of pretty?
That is.
It's a pretty effect. Many beautiful effects can be achieved. Blending, not one of them.
Now,
and you shouldn't try to.
For blending here,
I'm gonna get to blending in a second. I'm gonna show you my stuff. I'm gonna show you my jam. I'm gonna give you my secret inside tip of stuff I like. Besides working really fast,
okay. So Medina is asking, could you mix this with a retarder?
You wouldn't need to, and I'll show you why.
Okay.
Right, because you've got a product that's designed to dry very quickly, and you've got a product that's designed to open up the time. You will extend the drying time a little bit, but you're going to get gum or what's called drag on the brush.
Okay.
Your brush is going to drag. So what you're trying to do is get beautiful, smooth layers, right? It wouldn't be your ideal goal.
Gotcha.
Is all it is. It's fantastic, and it does amazing things, and look at how cool this is, and you can imagine all the fun, abstract, cool painting that you could possibly do with this. I'm going to pull out this red. I'm going to get this one out and kind of, get that out. You can see how... Oh, and the other thing that you've got to understand about glazing medium
yeah.
is it does not break down the quality of the paint. So you can mix just a teeny tiny little bit, and this is not going to hurt your painting. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
It's not going to just sit there and never dry. It's designed to dry quickly. So it's not going to do wet into wet blending. Not in any little universe. But, this is really exciting to me. You can put a tiny tint or tone, or, I mean, when you're doing skin tones and you're trying to do those flesh red noses and those flesh red ears,
Yeah.
this is your jam.
Oh, yeah.
This is the thing that gets you, I mean, you're like, how do they get those luminescent skin tones that seem to aglow? Watercolor, it's glazing. In oils, it's glazing. And in acrylics, it's glazing. That is awesome space.
Interesting. Cool.
Now, acrylic glazing liquid gloss. Also, interestingly enough, and you'll notice it has a little more body to it. Right?
Okay, so
I kind of wish I had a second cup of clean water, but
Shanaz is asking, can we use gloss, varnish, and medium for blending?
it will extend your drying time a small amount. And it will extend your paint a small amount. And it will control the finish of your paint, so it'll make it a gloss.
So,
right?
kind of?
Kinda, right? Kinda.
Kinda?
If that's what you've got, you can do a glaze with gloss, medium, and varnish. We've talked about that before.
Yeah.
You can increase, it opens your time. Again, it's subject to your environment.
Ah.
Right? But the thing about the gloss, medium, and varnish is that if you put just a little bit of paint into it, see, it's a polymer. So all you're doing is applying the paint body, or what's called the lake, to your canvas. Right? So it's stable. It's good. It's not like, some things. Now, this also will create glazes, because Golden is maniacal in what they do. But it does something kind of totally different.
What is that you're pointing at?
The acrylic glazing liquid gloss.
Is that by Golden?
Yeah, that's by Golden. See, because Golden often talks to artists, and they work with artists, and artists go, well, I like glazing medium, but I wish it wouldn't dry. So then Golden goes, that's cool. That's completely cool.
They make something for that.
They make something for that. And so it'll do the trempe, it'll do all those effects, it'll do these thin glazes, but guess what the drying time is on this?
Longer?
30 to 45 minutes.
Oh, wow.
Now, if you remember, I was like, as soon as a brush stroke was down, almost, it was dry.
So this is why there's a big difference between these two products, even though they're very similar.
Even though they have the same name, not the same product.
Gotcha. So
I just got some blue in my paint, it got it dirty.
Oh, I see it. It turned all grayish.
Yeah, well, because I had some green in there. Remember, I was like, I need some water.
Oh, I'll go get you some water. That's the
Here, I got some blue here, and I'll just go like this. See, it's still wet, or open, and I can blend with these two things, and then I can still come here and just get this and blend with these two things. Blendy, blendy, blendy all day long. So now it's a glaze and it's a blend. It will dry very clear. Except where I made the colors muddy because I didn't get my water clean. Okay, something to think about. Golden. Thank you for this. Right? I'm just going to say, right? So this is slow drying color glazes. It's a thinning medium for better brushability. And so you're going to look for things when you're blending, when you're trying to get a blend in your sky, whatever you're trying to do is better brushability. And what I mean by that is, have you ever been in your canvas and felt your brush dragging like little tiny men were catching the filaments? That's just funny, probably only to me. But it does. It feels like it's caught, like there's a force field. That is bad brushability. Unless you're trying to dry brush, and then that's fantastic and it's ideal. But if you're trying to do a soft, smooth blend and get these beautiful, beautiful airbrushed like oil looks, it ain't going to do that.
No.
So you definitely, this does. Look how many pages of information about this product it has.
Now, in here...
3.
I think Christopher...
Liquitex has like 1.
So Patrick was asking, he was a little confused when you're using the words retarder and extender and open. Can you clarify that just real quick?
Okay. When acrylic companies are trying to talk about the fact that they slowed down the drying time, they're going to use the words open or retard. They are. They have terrible naming
What about
practices.
extend?
Extend means it takes your paint further.
Ah, okay, so that's something different. Opening or...
Opening and
Or
retarding is
retarding.
to slow or keep the paint wet longer.
Okay.
Extending
Uh-huh.
is about the pigment goes into a lake or, a polymer. It's basically what your acrylic paints are made into, and therefore goes further. Extends your paint.
So it's
Use
something
less
that's like...
paint.
So an extender would be kind of like a filler that doesn't
Yeah.
affect the color as much.
So like the ultimate in championships of that is to take 2 drops of flow into some soft gel. If you want to
Oh,
see what an
yeah.
extender will do, 2 drops of... That's when you're like, wow, this is a pro paint, but it can get cheaper than a student grade paint when it's used the right way.
That's right. Chris did a really good job of explaining some of that to us. So.
Yeah, and it's fantastically true because there's so much pigment in that high flow paint, and you put it into that gel, which is just basically the high quality body that they use for heavy body paints. You're just kind of mixing it at home. You can decide if it's highly opaque, you can decide if it's translucent, and you can extend that high flow paint or that
Gotcha.
heavy body paint or the fluid paint, whatever you put in a soft body gel extends it.
Okay, cool.
Now, I'm now down to this.
Which is...
I'm going to get back to
what is it?
this
you had?
canvas that I dropped.
Oh,
Don't
you
ignore that I did that.
Sherpa down.
I didn't do it. I'm going to flip this over.
Okay.
Okay. I'm kind of low on room. The first one I'm going to use is slow dry blending medium.
Blending.
Blending medium, is it different than glazing medium? Yes. Not the same thing. Not the same thing at all. I'll tell you something about companies. They don't make a product and then make another product if the first product does the job.
So, yeah. Nikki,
Right?
you haven't missed anything yet. Just pull up a chair.
Pull up a chair. So good. Right? So they're not going to make a product if they already kind of had a product that did it. If they're giving you another product but they kind of seem like the same, trust me, they are no way the same. Some elemental condition of this product is completely different than the other one, and it will mess you up if you don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So slow dry blending medium, is it like their glazing medium? Well, no, because it's slowing down the drying time. But on top of that, right,
Uh-huh.
there's a mixability where you don't want to put just, it's not for glazing.
No.
Blending and transparency, large quantities, made temporarily light in color until dry. Dries clear and glossy, mix with acrylic color, allow 3 days before varnishing, do not mix with oils. So this is how much information that they have going on.
Now, it's everyone here agrees. Medina and Nikki and they're all out there like there are, and Manu are all saying like there are so many mediums.
Yeah.
And I remember I went to Texas Art Supply to pick some of these up, and there were 2 full walls of mediums.
You were freaking out. He was
mean-
calling me. John was calling me.
I'm not even kidding. Golden had like 3 sections of mediums. It was huge, and there's like glass medium and digital medium and gels and glosses and just all, it's a wall of tubs. And then you go over there and Liquitex has the same thing. And then, then there's Grumbacher and all of everybody just seems to have like a wall of mediums.
They do.
And
They
then-
do. And artists want them. Now, you're going to see I'm going to go here with this medium. So what I have here is my brush is gliding.
What do you mean by
gliding.
gliding?
It's like your brush is ice skating.
So it's really smooth, no resistance.
No resistance. None. And can you see how easy it is for me to blend?
Yeah, now, are you having any pitting with this?
No, there's no pinning. But I also put Flow 8 in my water.
Ah.
So I wouldn't get it. But I probably wouldn't get it with this. Now, you see this beautiful blend here?
Uh-huh.
Now, I did pretty good with my speed,
Yeah?
but this was very little work.
Interesting.
This was not a lot of work for me. I wasn't struggling to do this. I'm going to show you my favorite. This is my favorite. I actually bought it just to test it to see if it was any good.
What is it?
And this is Grumbacher's acrylic retarder for acrylic colors and mediums.
Oh, yeah, you like that stuff.
Yeah. This just slows the dry time down.
Yeah.
It doesn't make it glossy. It doesn't make it slippery. It will take paint. Like sometimes with glazing medium, have you guys ever experienced with glazing medium when you've used it that the surface becomes like slick to paint and then you can really only do glazes on the glazes? It's hard to do a thicker technique on top.
Yeah.
That's the thing that can happen. So, depending on what you're trying to do, there's no good or bad in any of this. There's like, what does this tool do? And the more that you can understand what that tool does, the more you can pick tools that meet your needs, because you might be in a humid, cold climate. So you don't have the weird extending times that I have. You might be like, I need to be able to do glazes and I need to be able to decide when the stuff dries. But you might be like in the desert where I was in Moab. If you are in Moab, you better get an extender.
So Manu asked, do you need to varnish if you use glazing medium?
Yes.
You do?
Yes. I have decided to have the full tilt varnishing course.
Huh. So I had to look over there. Mark said that the palette spot blue paint looks like a lady's cameo. I'm like, what? What is that? Oh, there's just a little face in the cameo in blue paint.
Oh my gosh, that's so weird. I'm creative and I don't even know. Yeah, I'm going to do a whole thing on varnishing, like correctly. Because I actually now, because you've asked me questions. How do I fix if it's clouded? How do I fix if it has brush strokes? How do I fix that? I'm going to show you the right way to varnish. So if anything goes wrong, you can actually fix brush strokes and cloudy.
Huh.
I'll blow your mind with that. That's upcoming in the future if you're feeling brave and saucy.
Oh, I think our audience is always feeling brave and saucy.
Brave and saucy. I don't know why that's my word tonight. Brave and saucy. I think it's because it's late in the day. So I'm going to take a little of this over to my blue. And boy, I don't know how to explain to you, but it gets slick. And what I used before is nothing compared to this.
Yeah.
Nothing. Now, all of these have an open time. They say, generally 30 to 45 minutes, blah, blah, blah. I think it's 15 in my studio.
Well, Christopher would like to say, wow, I love that she actually likes answering the questions from the live chat.
I love it.
I've never done one of these live things before. So, no, This is what we're here for. We love this. So
live for it.
Yeah.
Some things like I don't know any math questions you can ask me, but I'm going to be like, I don't know.
We really like you guys being here because, without it, it's just us talking into the dark internet.
And this has already started to tack a little bit, but let me tell you, this other stuff won't. This stays open for me. This Grumbrocker stays open for me and blendable and workable the longest of the products.
Okay.
For me. In these conditions. Now, here's the truth, though. I can be like, hey, this is working the best for me, but your conditions may be different. And I cannot tell you how many questions I get. And I know that really what it is it's weather, it's humidity, it's your art conditions, it's your water condition, it's your canvas, it's your brush. It's all these things that I think I put this in the description. None of the issues about blending paint have anything to do with talent. They're all systemic.
Yes.
Which is great news because you can fix anything that's systemic.
Yeah, you can totally fix all that stuff.
Talent's this airy-fairy thing that floats around in the universe that you might have gotten or not. Right? Like you can catch it or not catch it. Right? You're the one, you're Harry Potter, you're not Harry Potter. That's what talent is. This is something you can learn to do through will and determination.
Yeah. I want to say thank you because we have a lot of determined, willful Sherpettes and hardists out here.
I love that.
That's our male inclusion term is hardists.
Hardists?
Hardists.
All right, I like it.
Hardists.
And here's the thing. I know some of you are on the other side of the planet, and your weather conditions are very different. Some of you, I think we're equatorial. We're equatorial, aren't we?
Well, we're ish. I mean, we're on the same latitude as Cairo, to kind of give you an Cairo. Houston is right there with Cairo. So, except that we're a swamp.
So, if you were very near body water in Cairo, you and I would have very similar situation going on. And so it is where you are. And what I'll say is Liquitex and Golden both have a lot on the internet, and they have a lot on the their websites, like on YouTube and all that. So you can find more information. I do feel like Golden, they are literally never going to let you not know.
So Ghost just laid an awesome quote on me, the Ghost hostess.
Oh, cool.
She says, quote, talent is interest pursued.
Talent is interest pursued.
Quote, Bob Ross.
Yeah.
See, there you go.
From the grave, still owning it. In heaven, schooling all of us. I'm sorry, it's exciting to me. But maybe that was a bit of a reaction.
Oh, yeah. Audie's here talking about our Powerline ducks.
Powerline ducks? Oh, yes, we have Powerline ducks. So acrylic flow release, I'm
Okay.
going to be showing you guys that again and again and again because it really is solving this surface tension canvas issue. And then we don't have to regesso, and then we don't have to go get a new thing. It's fantastic. Right.
Oh, this is good. So Scrapaholic wants to know...
Hi, Scrapaholic.
Yeah, she wants to know, should she use extender with cheap acrylics for middle school students? Probably the extender may be more costly than the acrylics.
Yeah, I'm
But
thinking.
for an
I'm
educational standpoint, it may be worth working with.
It might be a lot of fun. I think generally, like at the point you're getting into those student acrylics, like the jugs of Dick Blick, you're not going to get cheaper than that.
Oh, well, and Tracy's asking a very interesting question, which is I think you'll be able to get here.
I love questions.
She says, so I've tried Golden Retarder
Yeah.
and Golden Glazing Liquid Gloss.
Yes.
They both say that they extends working times.
Yes.
So what's the difference?
They'll tell you exactly how long it extends working time. Golden Retarder is literally about like opening the paint, and you have to be kind of careful with it actually, because I'm fairly sure on the bottle it will tell you there are real strict limitations of how much pigment you can put to retarder, and if you do it too thick, it never dries. The liquid gloss, what is it called again, John?
Golden Glazing Liquid.
Yes, Golden Glazing Liquid, which is, I think, this one here, the Golden Glazing Liquid, does not give you that same grief and is for making glasses. It's for those types of effects. And it does extend it. It does do that, but it's more for glazes.
Gotcha. Now, so
And
question 3. It's
like
here.
I said, like,
Now, is airbrush medium or airbrush extender in this category?
I love airbrush medium and airbrush extender because both products allow you to do something that you can't actually do, which is a true acrylic color ground.
Ah.
Where you
So-
can do the thin, watery thing. They're fantastic. And what that is now keep in mind, those are designed for a very finely ground pigment where the pigment load in the medium is incredibly high. And, you know, whether you're extending or whether you're using the medium, right?
Uh-huh.
Because there'll be slight differences between those things. And I'm telling you, they don't make another product if they're the same, right? So if they're telling you it's extender, it's generally about getting your paint to go a little bit further. But there's going to be a wall or limitation where that product doesn't function really well. Where if it's a medium, generally, you don't have that place. It is what binds the paint. It's the little polymer balls,
All right.
generally.
So
Then, of course, they name these things crazy things.
Ghost has pointed out that Bob is on Netflix, as is Gem and the Holograms, and you should all go check that out. Now,
I've been
otherwise,
watching Bob. Who's been watching Bob?
so a couple of quick questions. 1, does retarder ruin your brush? And 2, I know this isn't pertaining to blending, Sherpa, but they would like
It's fine.
to know.
we got the information covered, so now we're good.
Yeah. Well, they would like to know what color black is your favorite.
All right. So, what was the first one?
Okay, so the first one is does
Close that.
retarder ruin your brush?
No.
Okay.
Acrylic paint ruins your brush.
But if you clean your brush and maintain them properly, then you're
You know what? Acrylic brushes are going to have a shelf life. If you're fastidious and careful and take very good care of your instruments, you will extend it to its maximum range. And if you're like me, it's like 6 months.
Gotcha. Now, which black do you prefer?
I really like Mars Black.
And the difference between Mars and Carbon,
Is the sheen.
one's gloss and one's matte.
Yeah.
Which one is which?
I don't remember off the top of my head. I think it's Mars is shiny.
Yeah, I
It's
think
gloss.
Mars is glossy and Carbon is matte. But
We got to do a whole black quest because there's this one black that's actually green. It's the coolest thing ever. I actually like that black, but I can't remember what the name is.
yeah.
But it's green.
So, and then I think the last question we have coming up here is: Do you use airbrushing medium? And if you have a preference?
I do not now that I'm using ground. And I am pulling back to years ago, but I think I used a medium that I like by Badger.
Well, I think we're gonna,
It was like in a big jug and you could get it and you could like wash up. But now that I've got colored ground,
Yeah.
I can underbind my paint like a crazy person and not even think about it.
So we are. I think we're approaching that 45-minute time.
I think
slot.
we're good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Guys, listen, I mean, like, and I'll do another, I will do these blending quests until you guys are blending like crazy blind people. And go back and look at these products. If it's, if it's in your budget, go ahead and get them. But remember water.
Yeah.
Waterworks, and these are just helpful if you're in a situation where your paint is drying too quickly on you. You can do oil techniques in acrylic. You can do watercolor techniques in acrylic, but only on paper or if you have ground. It's so hard to say a rule because then somebody comes out with a new product that changes that rule. But I'll tell you all of them. I have so many cool projects coming for you guys. If you've been having a pitting problem, not a pity party, though it feels like it with your canvas. If you've been having those little white dots on your canvas and the gesso isn't fixing it, we're going to be talking about this a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I am loving it. Loving it.
Thank you guys. We have over 250 people who've been here with us most of this day, and
250 people who are going to be able to blend. You're so lucky. Don't tell the other ones.
Love having you guys here with us. It's been so nice chatting with you. Please come back and see us again. Yeah. We're going to be doing this again.
See you at these really soon. Bye-bye. Come join us live Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday at 11 a.m. Central, or enjoy one of the hundreds of paintings available on replay anytime.